Meet this poacher, or rather a game ranger. This guy has a problem and he creates such a disaster that he becomes the most wanted person in the entire nation, dead or alive. A man who would strike like lightning, pow, and disappear again to the forest. And he does this again and again and again, and the government cannot catch him. Bro was so good that some even speculated that he was using witchcraft. Some even called him a ghost with a gun. Now, meet this guy. His name is Adamson Mushala, a man who is considered to be the most notorious rebel leader to ever exist in the history of the entire nation of Zambia. He's believed to have given a hard time, or he was rather a challenge, to the first ever president of the Republic of Zambia, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. So, who was really Mushala? Was he a freedom fighter, a rebel leader, or just something else? For us to understand who he really was, we need to go back a little bit in time. See, it is in the early 1960s, and the nationalist struggle in northern Rhodesia, now called Zambia, was at its highest peak. And there was a political party which was formed to fight against the colonial rule, or rather the colonial government. And this party, its name was the United Independence Party, or rather UNIP. And this party was led by the first ever president of Zambia, President Kenneth Kaunda. And among the members of this political party was Adamson Mushala. You remember the Porsche guy we're talking about? Yeah, he was a member, and actually he was a loyal member. See, he was such a loyal member who stood beside President Kenneth Kaunda during the struggle for liberation from the British rule. He was such loyal. When we say loyal, he was so loyal to the point that even when UNIP, the party, was making schemes to dislodge the colonial government, he was part of the plans. During the fight for independence, UNIP came with a great idea. They were like, guys, we need to be aware. What if during the Lancaster negotiations, nothing works out? And in an event that would need to use armed force or military struggle to get independence, we need to somehow be prepared. Okay, this is when they decided to send approximately 35 youths to China and Egypt to go and get training in guerrilla warfare. Among the people who were selected to go to Egypt and China was Adamson Mushala. So when we say loyal, he was so loyal really that he ended up himself specifically being sent to China. So time passes by and bro Adamson Mushala, he's just so patriotic. He's busy in China training for his guerrilla warfare tactics with a view to coming back and saving his motherland nation. However, while he was there in China, Zambia gets her independence. By the time he comes back to Zambia, actually he left it as Northern Rhodesia. Now it was called Zambia. Yeah, so he comes back to Zambia as patriotic as he has always been. But he realized that actually now his guerrilla training is of no use. He was like, all right, my guerrilla warfare training is of no use. Nevertheless, I'm still a hero. I put up my life, my time, my effort for this motherland. And I think it's time to get some credit. And then Kaunda, the president for UNIP, was like, guys, just chill. We just got the independence. We're trying to make sure that everything is running smoothly, you know. We don't want to mess it up. Just chill, okay? We got you, you know, okay? You are heroes. You are patriots for this nation. Of course, you deserve something, okay? Now, remember I told you this guy was a Porsche, okay? He was a game ranger. And this guy is so in love with wildlife, okay? He loves it, bro. Actually, it's his dream to one day be Minister of Wildlife and Forestry. And I guess, Mushala, he's just thinking this is the right time for him to make his dream come true. So his anticipations are so high, he's expecting something very big. Yeah, so I guess now the time comes when Mushala is to be credited for the great work he's done for motherland. Okay, so bro, just little Tifola. It's the day where he's going to get his dream come to reality, and it's the day he's going to get Ichola Wemwana. Okay, so he just knows it's the day. To his surprise, when he reaches there, that actually, Mr. Adamson Mushala, for everything that you've done for this country, we are so honored to have someone like you, and we have decided to select you as the Deputy Secretary of the Education Committee. And I guess Adamson Mushala is like, Atase, Deputy? I'm not even the Secretary, I'm Deputy. But he comes down himself. He's like, all right, I can still negotiate with Kaunda. Kaunda is my guy, so I'll just, talk to him directly. So he goes and says, remember, they selected me as Deputy Secretary, and Kaunda was like, yeah, congratulations. And Mushala is like, I have something to tell you. I've always loved wildlife and stuff. Kaunda's like, yeah? And I think maybe I could make really a great minister for a Ministry of Wildlife and Forestry. And Kaunda's like, no. I know you've done a lot for this country, but you're not the only one we sent there. So imagine if everyone we sent asked for a position to be a minister. So I guess we can't. I guess to Kaunda and the UNIP party, this was just some normal response. It was just some simple response they needed to do. But one thing they didn't know was, on that day, a monster was born. Okay, a patriot who helped build his motherland would turn his back and try to get down and destroy the land he was once part of the making. A monster, a rebel was born. Yeah, so I guess after all this drama, bro now comes back to his senses. He's like, oh, after all, your government is not that good. You're marginalizing the Northwestern province. I'm not happy with the underdevelopment happening in my province. You're a failure. So now, bro, his aim is to overthrow the unique government and form a new government. How will he overthrow the government and form a new government? He will use his guerrilla warfare training tactics he learned in China, feeling frustrated, betrayed, forgotten, and left out. Mushala, together with a group of handmen, crossed into Southwest Africa, now called Namibia, which was then under the apartheid power of South Africa. While in Southwest Africa, Mushala trained harder, deeper, okay? Inspired by Jonas Savimbi of Angola, a man who was fighting his own battle, Mushala was taking notes and learning tactics, ready to come and implement them. After he was done honing his guerrilla warfare tactics in Southwest Africa, or rather Namibia, he decided, now I've gained too much experience, I've strengthened my fighting tactics, I think now I've improved well. It's time to go back now to Zambia. Now this time, not as a patriot who came from China, this time as a rebel. In 1975, he crosses back into Zambia, this time not as a patriot who came from China, this time it was as a rebel leader, ready to take down everything. So he launches a rebellion in Zambia's northwestern province in the dense forests. The remote villages, the dense forests, and the forgotten roads just created the perfect environment for him. So this is when he decided now to go Ada. Okay, so he would strike police outposts, he would ambush convoys, and vanished into thin air. Whenever the army tries to come for him, bro disappeared. They couldn't catch him, as if the land itself protected him. Soon, stories began that Mushala could turn invisible, that bullets missed him, that he could talk to animals. Some believed that he was no longer human. The Zambian government, the UNIP government, frustrated and humiliated, is said to even hire some witch doctors from Zambia and beyond just to help catch Mushala. But nothing happened. Bro was just going Ada. Okay? Bro couldn't be caught. He became a ghost with a gun. This moment, bro is just untouchable. He's going harder and harder and harder. Not until 1982, on November 27th, 1982, near the dense forest in Solwezi, where his rebellion had begun, bro was ambushed. A bullet through his eye, bro was dead. His body, once untouched and feared, was dragged to the Solwezi General Hospital and laid for the public to see. Because, the government had to prove that the ghost is really dead. Now you might wonder, the group leader of almost 200 men has been killed. What happens to the rebellion? Does it also end? No, the fight doesn't end there. His second in command, Alexander Saimbwende, picks up the fallen flag and the fight continues, quite deadly. And they go on for 8 more years, going harder on the government. Not until in 1990, Alexander Saimbwende met government officials. They talked, negotiated, and they agreed. That's when now the war was over. And Alexander Saimbwende himself, he was flown to Lusaka and he was pardoned by the Republican president himself, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. That's how it ended. So, as you know, Mushala died with a bullet in his skull. To some, he's a terrorist. To some, he is a hero who stood against betrayal. He fought a government he once helped created and became the most wanted person by the same government he helped create. To conclude, who was really Adamson Mushala? A rebel with cause? A bitter man fueled by revenge? Or maybe a reminder that even during freedom, injustice can still plant seeds of war? I leave it up to you, Honorable, to decide.